Okay.
All right, we're
Oh,
live now.
yes, good, good. Hello, everyone. Happy
Well,
Thanksgiving. I hope that you are having a fantastic weekend and are ready to join us live as we talk about the law of attraction. I'd like everyone to meet Dr. Behrang Ajam. He's my good friend, and I'm going to let him introduce himself to you. And let's have some fun, shall we? And
yeah,
learn some
sure,
stuff.
sure,
Good
sure.
morning. Thanks for being here
Morning.
at my
Thanks for
flower
having me.
shop.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
On the set
Actually,
here.
this is amazing. I just realized that you're working in this environment and working in a flower shop. The word flower comes from flourishing and something like that. So, it shows itself in the way you do things,
Thanks.
everything.
Thanks.
Just today I learned that you also teach kickboxing.
Oh yeah,
You do so many things,
that's a
and that's
de-stressor.
yeah. And I think that that's because living, because some kind of living. It's most of your time you're spending in this environment, and here in flower shop, it just gives you the energy to do all those things. So thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
It's a very beautiful opportunity to share with you what I have been thinking about, learning about, uh, even sometimes teaching about. And the law of attraction is something that I have been, uh, per se, in touch with from 2006. More or less at the time that the movie Secret came out, it was a sensation, as you know. But very soon I found that what is in the movie is not exactly working the way that I wanted. At least it was for me. Maybe for some people it worked very well, but it wasn't working that way for me. So at the same time, I thought and I was feeling that there is something in it. So I went into more scientific aspects of it.
I, I want to ask you because a lot of people are going to watch this and they have no idea uh, what the law of attraction is. They've heard it,
Yes.
it's all over the place, but they really don't know.
Yeah.
And so, if you were to just explain the law of attraction as a concept to a 5-year-old so that they would understand it, how would you explain it?
That's a very good question. I apologize because we have one mic
No,
and
you
this
know
is
what?
this.
If you can put it on your collar, I think they can hear me fine. I can,
Yeah,
yeah, I can speak.
I will sit
Perfect.
a little
Good.
closer, yeah,
Perfect.
so that we can have
Yeah.
both sound. Now, I will give you the definition that I heard from one of my teachers, David Snyder. I don't know if it is exactly the thing that a 5-year-old would know, would understand, but it is basically the law of attraction is means that you attract and manifest the things, situations, people that you put your dominant thoughts on. So, whatever your dominant thoughts are on, appear and manifest in your life. Now, in most cases, in most books, videos, whatever you learn from, one word is missing, and that's the key word dominant thoughts. That's why we think that if I sit in here and think about something, it will manifest in my life. If I imagine it without doing anything else, it will happen. And it will, but it takes so long because you haven't done the homework yet.
So, dominant thought, meaning the thought that you think about most of the time.
Most of the time, all of the time.
All of the time.
Let's say it this way. The law of attraction is not something that you start using or doing after this video or after learning something or reading a book. We are manifesting and attracting all the time, every moment of our lives. In fact, the life that we have now is the manifestation and of what we have attracted by our dominant thoughts. So the dominant thoughts are the thoughts that come from our subconscious, and that is the attitude, the way we look at the world. So the way we look at the world, the way we look at situations and people attracts. the people, situation, and things that are in tune, aligned with our thoughts.
We live today the life that we have attracted in the past.
From the past to this moment, and if this is what I am, I will attract and manifest all things along.
Okay. Okay. That's powerful
That is powerful, yeah.
because then you can take it further and say, and I can live the life that I want, that I choose in the future by attracting
Yes,
that in my
absolutely.
life.
That's the whole thing. You see, the the reason why we think about it, we learn about it, is that we want to have some kind of control because most of the times the life appears to be happening to us. We think, or I mean, it's something that like that everything is happening without our control. Just about a week from now, I will have a presentation for real estate agents and mortgage brokers and insurance brokers about the science of luck in sales, to tell them and show them that, in fact, actually, there is no luck the way that people think that is something uncontrollable, like flipping a coin and rolling dice. There is science behind it, just the way that there is science behind the law of attraction. So the dominant thoughts come from deep inside when you know them and modify them the way you want, then you can manifest a new life. I just want to emphasize on the point that it's all about being, not having, not even acting.
So explain that a little bit more. What do you mean? It's all about being.
You see, in many cases, people try to buy something or have something to do something with it so that they are something. I said that in my Farsi podcast just a couple of weeks ago. I used to teach music softwares and instruments years ago, and at that point, many of my students were people who would purchase software to make some music and then be a musician. It's actually the other way around. You are a musician, you compose music, and then you use that tool to compose, to produce your music. But it happens at the level of being, not the level of having, not even the level of acting. This being that is sitting here has manifested this life. You want something else, you have to change the being. And it is hard and it's easy. But all happens is at the level of being. I would like to say it this way. It is a journey of inside and it's a journey of being. Some being will stop at some point, a new being is born at another level, then another life begins. It is helpful to sit somewhere and visualize things and use affirmations. Actually, they work because they change the being on the long run. But if you know where you are and where you want to be, 2 points, and then see the road and pave it with dealing and understanding and maybe eliminating the resistances, then this journey really happens. Otherwise, if I want to change everything without changing anything, nothing happens.
Nothing.
I see that in many friends, clients, that they want things to change without changing. I want everything in my life change, but I am not going to change at all. This is not going to change.
Not
It's
possible.
not possible. This being has attracted and manifested this life. You want another life, the being should change.
Yeah.
And there are so many uh, experiments, experiences that you can go through. I believe that you have something when you think about it. At the times that there has been some tremendous change in your life, your being has changed. You are another person. That's why we say I learn from my life experiences. Those life experiences actually change your being. And then with that change, some new life happens. That's all. That's what the law of attraction is about. It is an internal journey. And in order to use it, you have to know yourself deeply, beliefs, values, what you identify with, your habits, your rituals. All this should be reviewed. Many of them, if you want to change, many of them should change. Okay, the thing is that we also talk about self love. We are supposed to love ourselves the way we are, and we do. But it doesn't mean that we are not going to grow,
Right.
right? I always give that kind of example that a mom loves her child. She loves him or her when she is 2 years old, when she's 3 years old, 5, 10. The child grows, changes, but the love is still there. So I can love myself the same way throughout my growth. I change, but I still love myself. But it's naive to expect that a mom to expect that the child never changes, never grows. That's actually against life. So she loves the child throughout the growth. I love myself throughout my growth. And it is not contrary to loving myself.
And the mother's love is unconditional,
You know it better.
right?
Yes, yeah,
I mean, you never think that you're going to ever stop loving your child.
absolutely.
But self-love, it's not the same way for a lot of people because a lot of people don't think of self-love as unconditional, and it should be. You're
Yes,
saying
it
it
should.
should be.
Yes, yes.
So that's a different topic for a
Yes,
different
yeah,
day,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like I know you talk about that all the time,
Yes, yeah.
self-love. But I'm sure a lot of people can benefit from that. But so going back to the law of attraction, what can you think of to give us an example to people who are watching us? Something that has drastically changed in your life because you started applying the law of attraction.
Something that I can remember was actually that's one time that I practiced active visualization. And that was a time when I was very younger than now. And I wanted a music instrument. And at the time, at the country that I was living in, Iran, mm, there was no, there was not a single piece of that kind of instrument. I visualized it and I put it on the screen of my laptop, my computer, and it was there for about 6 months. And things just happened by luck or by I don't know how. One instrument just came to my home, and when it was there, I looked at my computer, seeing it's there.
That's
It's
it.
it's
This
it's,
is
it's
it.
it
It's
happened.
here.
It's here. It happened, and it was amazing. And the amazing thing was that it wasn't something you could go to a shop and buy because there was none in the country.
Amazing.
But by luck, it's a long story that sometimes I tell my friends. It just came from some other country into Iran and to my home.
You manifested that
I really manifested
instrument.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I can say that that was an example that it is possible, it is something that works, but at the same time, I had to do something about it. It was a picture on the screen of my computer, but at the same time, I was talking about it to my people, to my
Mm-hmm.
friends. That need, that thing that what I'm thinking, and I like it and I love it. And one of them, it happened that one of my friends did it for me without telling me because he had some kind of connection and some relationship with someone in another country. So it works. And whenever people ask me, does it work? I say it works. But the being sometimes changes. That was an example, a simple example of just using visualization. But sometimes you need a little more tremendous change in the relationship, in your health. See,
You're right, because it's easier to manifest small things, right?
absolutely, yes.
So this, like, I can think back at a few weeks ago when I was really thinking about hummingbirds. I,
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you the story, but
No, yeah, yeah.
hummingbirds. I love hummingbirds, and so at the flower shop, I use a lot of birds and a lot of butterflies in with flowers. And I was thinking, my gosh, I wish we had some hummingbirds. I haven't seen hummingbirds in a long time. And so um, just the day after, I came in, and there was a box of hummingbirds sitting on the counter that my husband had purchased. I never even told him. I said, "These are hummingbirds." He's like, "Oh, they are?" I said,
He didn't
"Yes."
even know it.
And then I go home and I open one of my books, and there's a bookmark. And this bookmark has been in my book for the past 3 years. My good friend Sherry, brought it back from Costa Rica for me. And I never realized it was a hummingbird. So like when you talk about stuff like that,
Yes,
it
yes.
happens to us. But I think it's uh, it's that expectation, and to think that it's not that important to me. I'm not gonna
You're not gonna
obsess
put,
about it,
yes,
right? That's really
yes,
important,
yes.
isn't it?
You're not gonna put any force on it because it's not working with force. It is powerful, but not forceful. It's totally different. Yes, it is a very powerful concept.
Yeah.
But when you force it, when you put all your stress and you are thinking with your reptile brain, which is something else again, but the reptile brain is not designed for manifestation. Manifestation and attraction is, I believe, is something that is designed for human beings. Human beings are capable of manifesting attraction. And when you are using your reptile brain, your animal brain, by putting force, by putting stress on it, and being stressful about if it happens or when it happens, then you are using an animal capability or something that is designed for a human. It doesn't work like that. And yes, as you rightfully mentioned it, for small things it works even easier because you don't care about them
Yes.
and it happens next day, right?
Yes.
But for some things like for example health, for let's say weight management, right? That is in a level that really needs some work in the being level. Being should change, the way I am gives me this kind of health. If I want to change this condition of my health, yes, I have to change my habits, some rituals should change, but those are related and connected to my subconscious. So sometimes you have to go a bit deeper, see what's going on in there. I had a friend that we were working about weight management for a long time, and there was no progress. She was just the same. Sometimes a little down, a little up, but the core was not changing at all. And when we went deeper and deeper, at some point we realized, and it was an aha moment for both of us, that deep inside she has the belief that people who are slim are not healthy. She sees health linked to being overweight. And yes, she was living in a family of overweight people. But every time she wanted to lose weight, at some point there was an alarm in the head saying, "You are losing your health, not weight." And then she would
Oh,
stop.
that's
Yeah,
amazing. I got
it is.
goosebumps.
Because then you will realize how deep it could be. It
Yes.
relates to the values. The value of health is in contrast to the value of weight. Health and weight are fighting, and you want health, so you link the health to it, and then uh, it it prevents you from losing more weight. Even the word sometimes is tricky when you talk about losing weight. Losing is something that people
You
don't
can
like.
find it again.
You can find your health, you can track health. That is the best way to say it. But sometimes I see around people talking about losing weight. Honestly, as a human being, we are not very much into losing anything. We don't like losing,
Don't like losing.
so we don't like losing weight,
Oh yeah. Oh
right?
my God, you're
So
so
even
right.
if you want to talk about it, you have to be careful the words about the words
What
because
word would you choose instead of losing weight?
just being healthy,
How about releasing weight?
releasing weight. You see, let's focus on the positive side because there is a saying: if you want to eliminate darkness, just light a candle.
You said that before.
Right? Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It was a Farsi
Yeah.
post on Facebook. So you want to eliminate something which you consider as negative in your life, you don't have to deal with it. You don't have to focus on it. All you do, you light a candle and that goes away. So why focus on weight and losing weight or even releasing weight? We can invite health into our lives. And when health comes in, anything bad goes away, right?
It's cool. So changing a statement like that, instead of saying, I don't want to eat this because I'm trying to lose weight, it could change to, I choose not to eat this.
Or one step further, I choose to eat that.
Or I choose to. So it's so hard, isn't it? It's
Yes.
hard to change
Because
that
you know, it's,
mindset.
it's sometimes easier to say what I don't want to. I don't want to eat this, 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 this. But then the body says, or mind says, okay, you don't want to eat all this. So you are not going to eat anything. That's how the power of habits and rituals comes into play. It means that you have to design new habits by telling yourself and teaching yourself, or maybe you can get help from others who are in this kind of uh, therapy. Let's not call it therapy, but that kind of thing. By getting help, you may learn how to design new rituals. But my point, an important point, is that you can make a change in habits and in behavior by telling yourself what to do, not what not to do. It's just as if you are uh, teaching manners to a small child or even a dog. You tell them what to do, and that makes a permanent change. You can tell them not to do that, but doesn't make any permanent change.
Oh
You have to tell
my
them,
God, yes.
yeah,
That
yeah, you know that. Yes, yeah, I know that.
that's an aha moment right there. Because we tell kids, no, no, that's the first thing we tell kids.
Yes,
Like that's the first thing we as human beings have heard.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Right? No.
And in some cultures, I have to admit, it's even more severe.
Sure.
Yes, because I've seen many parents just saying, "Oh, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that." But then, what should they do?
What's
Tell them
yeah.
what you don't want to play with that. Give them another thing that is safe to play with. You don't want them to eat that. Give them a healthy food. Because but just by saying, and I see that all the time in families, don't eat that, don't do that, don't go there, don't talk to people, that kind of people, don't do, don't go into that kind of relationship. Okay, don't, thank you, but what are the do's? Because when you light the candle, the darkness goes away. You don't have to deal with darkness. Just light a candle and it works.
Good.
This
This
is
is
good.
good.
Yeah.
Well, we got lots of people here
Okay.
watching, and I wonder if there are any questions regarding what we're talking about. So go ahead and put them in the comments section. But I'm so excited about what we're gonna do together,
Mhm.
right? So, and you're talking about law of attraction, and it's we can implement it in every aspect of our lives. And honestly, uh, I think I think if you're in denial that of the law of attraction, you might as well deny that the law of gravity also doesn't exist, right? Because it's there, and a lot of people already know it. They understand it. They're taking advantage of it. I'm I'm new at this. Like I'm just starting to really get into it. But you want to, especially because I'm interested in this in this aspect of it. We're going to do a seminar together,
Yes.
and you're going to talk about the law of attraction and how it can be implemented in specifically weight management.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people are interested in that.
Yeah.
So, so tell us a little bit about that and how you think you already touched on that, but like specifically speaking of the seminar, what would someone get from that seminar if they attended?
You see, it will be something like maybe in 2 hours, it is easy and also hard to talk about and cover all the aspects of it. But I will, together, we will have a roadmap. You see, in any journey, you will need where from and where to, what we are, where we want to
Yeah.
be. And in between, we need a road, a paved road. And that road could be paved if we deal with some resistances and some values that are keeping us from inviting health into our lives. So, where we are, know yourself, where you want to be, what is the road, and what can move you ahead. You need to know about some mental skills. That visualization works, really works. Affirmations work, but not as a standalone skill. They have to be integrated into the whole picture. So when you know where you are, or at least some idea of where you are, when you know where you want to be, not where you not want to be, where you want to be, right? And then what is the road? Then it'll be much easier to design new behaviors, new rituals, new habits that can take you actually from where you are to where you want to be. In that seminar, we're going to review all those aspects of it. 4 or 5 things that are important: where you are, where you want to be, what's the road, what are resistances, what skills you want to have or acquire and learn. Visualization, affirmations, those are main things, but it will be dealing with some kind of inner journey, as I said. It is not something that is happening out there. It all happens here.
It always happens.
So the first step is knowing where you are and what you are. And again, I say it again, what I am has manifested this. If I want to manifest something else, this should change. That's the way it works.
That's really good. That's really good. So, who's interested in knowing a little bit more about that, the law of attraction and how it can be implemented in weight management specifically? I know a lot of people who are going to jump on this opportunity. So I have Farah here. I see a comment here from Farah, and she says, "I'm new too about law of attraction, but I will work on it."
So I would say you it's good to work on it, and it's even better to work on yourself because it starts from here. But yes, it is the whole concept that starts from me and what I want and the skills that is needed to actually do it and manifest what you want. And let me tell you something. When we sometimes we would think about some small things like a car or music instrument, as I told you the story about, but when you go into the way, into the road, and learn about it, you see that the changes and the manifestations are actually much bigger than just one thing or even one person that you want to attract. It changes life, it changes the perspective, it changes the attitude. Many things change. Yes, you need to change your being, but by changing your being, right away, many pieces of the puzzle go into the picture and you see a new picture in life. So it goes beyond a car, it goes beyond a dream job, it goes even beyond some relationship. It's important, but not all of it. The whole is much bigger, and the thing that happens and what you'll be able to manifest will be even bigger than that thing or that person.
Farah says, "I'm really interested." Uh, that's good. Yeah, I'm really interested too.
Yeah.
Um, so you talk about this, and I can't help but look back at my life and how it's changed within the past tremendously within the past 2 years.
Yeah, yeah, we're talking about
Um, it's because so 2 years ago I changed. I decided that change is going to happen from within. That I had absolutely no control over the people around me, their actions, what they were thinking. The only control I had was over myself. And that's when I started changing. And it's interesting that you say, yes, you know where you are, you know where you want to go. And this path is filled with things that you're going to have to do yourself. You can't just sit there and hope that things are going to happen. You're going to have to take the proper actions, right? And I can't I can't, you know, say enough of, oh, hello, DJ. That was my
Awesome.
parrot. A little added to reality TV.
She wants some attention, you
He
know.
wants to be famous. So I was saying, so I think about all these different seminars I've taken, all these different workshops I've attended, all these different books I've read, like the amount of YouTube videos I've
Yes.
like, just the self-education has helped me so much, and so I'm sitting here today and looking back at 2 years ago and thinking, wow, what a change in perspective. But also the people that have come into my life as a result, and it's all in alignment with what I'm trying to accomplish. You came into my life, and it was fabulous. It was like such a miracle, such a surprise. And as a result, as a result of knowing you, I mean, I think I told the story the other day. You sent me, you nominated me for this award.
Yes.
And I got, because of that nomination, I got to meet so many other people that have come into my life. And just this is law of attraction in process, right?
Absolutely. First off, I believe that you fully deserve that prize
I appreciate
because we
that.
had that interview, and I don't know if you remember or not, but we were supposed to have an interview about the changes in your life, and it was supposed to be just half an hour,
Yes.
and it turned out to be an hour and a half.
Yes.
And I uh, had to broadcast it in my podcast in three uh, sections because people wanted to hear it, but 1 hour and a half was a bit too much. So I learned so much about your experience, and to me, that nomination and that prize was exactly for you, and you fully deserve
I
that.
appreciate that.
But something that I would like to ask you now. Now, you said there has been some changes in your life. I would like to ask you to please clarify. Are you the same person who brought things into your life, or the person has also changed? The being.
Definitely has changed. I've definitely changed. I mean, when you talk about the being changing, um, obviously you're not talking about the physical being.
In fact, sometimes it changes too,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yes, yes, old. The
Yeah,
most important change.
I'm older.
Not much. I don't think
The
so.
skin is hanging a bit more. No, but seriously, the when you talk about that, I get it. It's not the being so much in the physical being, but it really is. It is the inside, like the way I think about things, the way I look at the world, the patience, the love, the appreciation, right? The gratitude, the compassion. Thank you. It's just it's a different person. I'm a different Della today than I was 2 years ago. So of course, in answer to your question, yes.
I don't know you from 2 years ago, but I definitely think that at least at that last few months, I have seen some change again. See, yes, you were always a gracious person, someone very kind and outgoing and outspoken. But even in that period of time, I can see that, and I guess you feel that it's some kind of growth. We are all into growth.
Yeah.
If it was a business, we would say we are in the growth business.
Hmm.
So the growth doesn't stop. Some people try to stop it, but it never happens. But it's good that in every step you see that it is not just the things that are changing. I am changing. I'm growing, and my world is growing with it. Right?
That's good.
Yes. Yeah.
That's good.
That's
Yeah.
really good. Yes.
Oh,
I,
absolutely,
I love
absolutely.
it too. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So we've got some new people who have joined us. Hi, thank you so much for being here. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the law of attraction and how we can use it in our lives, just in all aspect of our lives. As a matter of fact, I would love to hear from whoever's watching, if you've had some experience with the law of attraction, something that you've been able to manifest. And I mean, if you think it's absolute bull, also we want to hear that. We want to challenge you on that, um, because I mean that's
Yes,
what we're
yes,
here
yes.
for, right? We're
I guess
here.
we have to have those names and have an interview with them
Yeah,
later on.
yeah,
That
yeah.
would be
That would be
awesome.
good.
Because I know that if we go ahead, if we go back, we will see many, many examples of how we manifested things in our lives. But sometimes we are not much into the process, how it happens, how it happened in the past. So there is not for many of us, there is not a model that we can reproduce the results. And in that seminar, we are trying to find out if there is something that can be repeated so that we can have repeated results. And again, it is powerful but not forceful. That's the difference. We will just see how it works and how we can apply some skills to it, some changes in our lifestyles, in our
Habits.
habits, in design some rituals. And those are the things that work, and those are the things that, especially because that seminar is going to be related to weight management. Weight management is so much about your internal journey, internal growth, habits, values, rituals, beliefs, identities. As I said, some people identify with being overweight. And that is something that has to change before they can change even the habits or
That's
rituals.
amazing.
So we will examine all those.
For sometimes somebody releases a lot of weight, and even after reaching what we call the ideal weight, the person still sees themselves as overweight.
And it takes time because one law, per se, one rule is the rule of familiarity. So they have lost the weight, but it is the new being is not still familiar with them. You see it all the time in uh, people who win lotteries. There are so many stories about people who have won lotteries and lost the whole thing, lost the whole money, and have been bankrupt in few years. I always give that example of the gentleman who won $314 million back in 2002, I guess, and declared bankruptcy in 5 years. And in an interview some years later, he said, "I wish that ticket had never come to my life, because that ruined his life. How he his mind was still a poor mind. He had money, but there was some discrepancy between the two. So it needs a time to be familiar with the new being. And that is one of those mental skills that we're going to apply to see how we can familiarize ourselves with the being that we want to have. Because it can happen, but if we are not ready for it, it will change. And that's why many people go into the weight loss process. They lose weight, come back, lose weight. They call it yo-yo
Oh
process.
my gosh,
That
yes.
happens all the time.
I was there. Like I was there. I remember as a kid growing up, I was always weight conscious,
Mm.
always. And so are a lot of other young girls,
Exactly.
it's just so common in our society. So I remember doing all these fat diets that did that, the lettuce diet, the nothing diet, the all that. So I know what it does to a person inside, but also, I mean, your health too, but what it does to your mind. And so I totally get it. The yo-yo is just, it's very frustrating. It tires you down. It drains you. So had I had some training on how to change the way I thought about weight, it would have been much easier.
See, sometimes some people identify with being overweight. Sometimes they identify being as someone who is in the diet. So they want to be in the diet all the
All
time.
the time.
So when they lose weight, they just gain it back so that they can be
Oh, that's
in diet
crazy.
all the time.
Yeah.
Or they are diet conscious or
Yes.
stressed about it. So the identity is that I want to be stressed. So that is a good way to stay stressed, right? That is something that has to change. That's why I'm saying it's powerful but not forceful. That stress can be part of the habit of my life. I have the habit of stress over food. Then I will lose, but I'll gain so that I can stay being stressed. See how tricky it could be? So there are
Wow.
so small things that we have to examine and find out and tweak a bit. And with tweaking each of them, and sometimes just knowing about it and just pointing that you see this pattern in your life, it just bursts and things are solved. But we don't have, sometimes you don't have that kind of help. Sometimes you don't go deep enough. Actually, sometimes help is a very good idea to have. It's good to have some kind of, some,
Sometimes we're just in denial.
in denial,
Or
yes.
we
Yeah,
just don't
absolutely,
know.
yes.
Like
Yeah.
we don't know what we don't know.
Yes.
Right? And that's part of the reason like we wanted to talk about
Yes,
this
yeah.
because we don't know what we don't know. And so it just maybe like that little spark in someone, just even like if one person
Right.
who didn't know this and now knows about it,
Right.
right? And goes further in educating themselves. I've got Kusha here that says, I have experienced this in being able to become who I am today in so many ways. Um, Thank you, Kusha.
Awesome. So at some point, Kusha, you want to share your experience with us? Maybe write
Absolutely.
about it.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. Farah, I lost less than two. I lost.
Less than
I think in less than 2 months, 20 pounds just for being healthy. Um,
AC1 is almost 8. Okay. So it is some combination of uh, health and weight because AC1 is about the blood sugar.
okay. And then she says, and I'm still losing weight, and my goal is to be healthy.
Yes, that's a good goal to set. Not losing weight because weight can go down, can come up. When the being is designed to be healthy, it attracts, it designs itself, it changes everything. I sometimes I give this example. Just imagine you are inviting a person whose name is health to your house, right? How do you prepare everything? How
That's
do
so
you deal
good.
with them? What kind of meal do you prepare? What kind of snacks do you have in there? So if someone whose name is health is coming from the door to your house, how do you deal with them? That's inviting health to your life, right? So that kind of food, that kind of experience, that kind of attitude will actually invite health into your life. See, so that's how rituals, and that is a very good point to set the goal as being healthy, not losing weight,
Yeah.
not even modifying weight or not losing anything, not focusing on the dark side, focus on the light.
I like it. So more like changing your mindset and the way you talk to yourself to something like I choose to put healthy food in my body, as
I,
opposed to I'm going to avoid eating this or that.
I choose to invite health into my life and everything will settle.
That's so good.
So good,
That's so good.
yes.
That's so good. Okay, well, I'm excited about the seminar. And I think a lot of people are too. There's lots of people watching right now. I'm kind of missing the Instagram feed, but there's lots of people watching. Do you know, like we have a lot of Iranian audience here. Maybe we should
Yes.
do one of these in
In
Farsi. What do
Farsi
you
too, yeah, in fusion. Actually, I am talking about the law of attraction in my podcast, which is in
Oh,
Farsi. Yes,
introduce
yeah,
your podcast, please,
yeah,
and your radio show.
yeah. The radio show is broadcasted from Sadai Iran radio, Sundays at 3:30 p.m. But the file is also on my podcast as something that you can listen to all around the world. And the name is Halehu, the state of being happy. It's all in Farsi. So for our Farsi audience, it's good to check that, and it is available on all podcast platforms like Apple Podcast and Android and websites. Many places you can find it. It's Halehu, and right now we are in the third or maybe second or third episode on the law of attraction,
Third.
actually. It's third. Okay, thank you.
And
No, but
Berang concentrates on, would you say you concentrate on mental wellness?
mental wellness. Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's something that I advocate for.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
Actually, that's the place that we
that
met.
is,
Yeah,
yeah,
CMHA.
that's it,
Yes.
that's how we came to work together. So this is all what this is about. Della's Voice is really a platform for mental wellness
Yes.
and recovery, which is I call it recovery because to me changing perspective is recovery, the start of recovery. And so whatever we can work with that can bring us that mental wellness is welcome on this platform. And I really appreciate you being here. So so Farah has a Farsi comment here. She's working and she's listening while she's working and she's typing really fast. She says it was great.
Thank you for being with us.
Yes, thank you
Yeah.
so much for being. She's all the way in California.
Oh,
So what do you say we wrap this up?
yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so again, stay tuned for the seminar date. I will be announcing it on all social media. It's going to happen within. I'm going to say within the few weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to be about a couple of hours. We would love to have you there. Join us and learn. We learn together from Berang, and I'm just looking forward to that
All together.
opportunity.
Yes.
Right?
Learning together. Yes.
I thank
Like
you
it.
so much for being
Thank you for
here
having me. Thank
at
you.
my flower
Thank
shop.
you. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Everyone, and it is Newmarket, Davis, and Huron Heights.
Here in Heights.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Everyone in Newmarket should come in here. 'Cause,
That's
you know,
what I
it's such
say.
yes. Beautiful environment.
That's
Yeah.
what I say. Well, so with that, we're gonna wish you a happy Thanksgiving in Canada,
Happy Thanksgiving.
a happy Sunday, anywhere, or maybe like even a different day
Yes.
in Australia
Yeah,
or something
yes,
like
yeah.
that, right? So for now, we say goodbye to you, and we wish you well. Anything from you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to all your audience. It was a very good experience talking about it. I always love to talk about it, but yes, we'll go into a little more details and more roadmap like stuff in the seminar that you
A little
mentioned.
bit more
Yes,
hands-on.
yes,
A
yes,
little more hands-on.
yeah.
More practicing and stuff, right? Thank you, Kusha. Okay, so with that, this is Della's voice, hoping to spark your soul. Ciao.
Bye.
Okay, so would you end that? How would you end it?
Seems that you're not that tech savvy.
No, I know. I told you I'm not.
Maybe
Try to up here.
Yeah.
No, it's still going. That's really funny because we
Yeah.
can't turn this off, so it keeps going.
Yes. All right.
So hang on. Let's see.